Welcome to Things Invest, where we talk about investing, finance, and professional development. As a recording time of 12:57 p.m. on the Eastern Time, Ethereum coin trading $25,000, up about 9,000% so far. Obviously, Maurice has lost his mind. Let me restart again. With respect to recording time of 12:57 p.m. on Eastern Time, Ethereum coin trading $3,992, up about 1.20% so far. On the overall crypto market and the equity market, we can see clearly that we are experiencing a relatively bullish momentum at the moment ahead of the Joe Biden speech that will be, getting a confirmation from him later today. In an early pre-market perspective, we obviously saw the press release that came up from the White House earlier today, right? It seems like some of the previews that we'll be hearing from the speech later today, about like an hour and 30 minutes from now, would be around the $500 million of deployment that Joe Biden has allocated towards to support the fight that we are currently having, against Omicron, the COVID variants. And the funding is going to be specifically purposed for, medical supply, medical aids, and also redeploy the troops from, the military base, the medical staff specifically, onto domestic regions of U.S. To be setting up these COVID centers for vaccinations, for treatments, if you may, in local shopping malls, to public facilities, and et cetera, et cetera. And also, with respect to my earlier verbiage that I gave this morning, we know that we have a confirmatory signal from the press secretary that she said that, coming from Joe Biden's mouth, that he has no intentions or no confirmatory signals that we are going to be shutting down the country all over again. It's not like the March 2 years ago. This is going to be, it's still a progressive, gradual developments that we're going to be progressing towards. And this tactical objective move of this $500 million is the logical next steps based on the, their tactical, strategic initiative at the moment. So we see how that goes. It seems like on the market perspective, because of the press release that came out, we're seeing some buying pressure, and knowing the fact that this is combined with a month of just negativity so far, and also with respect to, just like in the most recent time frame, a 3 consecutive sell-off that we've been experiencing so far, right? And collectively, it's just been a wild ride on the roller coaster front. Just to recap some of the factors that we've been experiencing on a weekly, daily basis, from the FOMC meeting to the CPI report to China's crackdown, delisting, Omicron spiking, etc., etc. It's just been, it seems like we could not really get a break, right? Despite that, seemingly what was, seemed to be like a rally post FOMC meeting, but Omicron, seemed to kind of cover it up and sell back down anyways. So today could be, a green day because of just the overwhelming negativity that we've been having so far. And on a technical front, I would say across the multiple coins and on the equity side as well, we've been relatively oversold, right? And on the equity side, just to be more specific, is because of the tax provisions that we're currently having in the U.S. So a lot of executives and companies, including funds, they have to basically liquidate or even take a write-off on their respective investment holdings to pay tax, right? Like Elon Musk, for example, he has to pay $11 billion of just purely tax, right, for his multiple business endeavors, right? So Tesla is actually a relatively interesting investment opportunity right now. So it's trading around $900 right now, just hovering about is at 916 exactly at the moment right now. I think it's still a relatively interesting one. But with respect to Ethereum, let's just dive right into the technicals real quick, because that's our topic of discussions. And again, respect to recording time of 1:01 p.m. on the Eastern Time, Ethereum is not trading at $25,000, up about 9,000%, but is trading just around approximately above the 4,000 mark. Sorry for a little joke here and there. Try to lighten the moods up a little bit today. With respect to current level right now, we are just hovering around the 4,000, right? The real substantive level is the 4,150. And the next level down is going to be 3,843, right? So right now we're just pending for the signals that we'll get from Joe Biden later today, which I foresee is going to be a positive one. Knowing the fact that, with respect to the sell the rumors, buy the news type of affectation, we don't really see that very prominently at the moment. And I think, Joe Biden's just going to be reinforcing some of the things that he has already, publicly published out earlier this morning, right, on the press release from the White House. So I think we are going to be generating some positive pressure ahead, especially because Christmas is ahead. I foresee it's going to be some positive days ahead just because of the oversold dynamics that we have in the market right now. So right now, it just makes sense for a nice healthy rebound as we close up the year on strong notes, if you may, right? So with respect to Bitcoin, it's currently up about close to 4% right now as well, at the 48,600. So I would give this like a $49,000 right now. And at the moment right now, we are just hovering, right, consolidating on a sideways fashion, right? The next leap down that we'll technically go to would be the 46,450, 465, so like basically 46,500, or the 45,500, or the 43,900, or basically like 44, right? I think the oversold level was already pretty much at the 45,500, and right now we're at the upper echelon of oversold, like at the 41-ish, yeah, like 43.52. So it's not terrible to incur some risk right now if that's something that you believe Bitcoin in long term. I do believe in long term, so I think right now is still an okay level to incur some risk, but not terrible, right? Dogecoin is currently up about 1.4% right now, anywhere from the current level to the bottom of basically 1520 is still a good dip. I think at the 40 right now, so it's like not best, not the worst. It's okay, it's optimal, it's logical, but ultimately you have to believe Dogecoin in the long term for you to incur risk, right? Cardano is up about close to 2% right now, hovering between 134 to 120. At the moment right now at the 126, so at the neutral level at the 38 out of 70. So yeah, I think Cardano is still a buy despite some surge right now. Solana's at 177 again, right? 155, 133 to 113 is still a better dip for us, right? In terms of risk versus reward ratio perspective. XRP is up about 6.21%. We are hovering above the 88s. So congrats to the ones actually bought XRP when we're at the 78. You are up quite nicely right now. Right now we are contemplating do we go up to the 93, right? And you could see clearly with a gap here. So 93 is going to be a resistance level. So do we see more buying pressure above 93, right? Because after 93, we have a relatively large leap up to 101, right? So that could be a relatively difficult level to break through, but we'll see how that goes, contingent on the overall market reversal with the 52 out of 70 right now. So yeah, not the best, not the worst. Respect to polkadot's up about 5% right now. Anywhere from current level to the 23 is still a okay level. Again, right, you have to believe in this for long term for you to incur risk. We're still at the 35, so it's not terrible again, right? Algorand's up about 4%. We rebounded from the 120, 125, right now at the 134. We're still at the neutral level in the more the upper echelon of the oversold. So Algorand's still not terrible in terms of like incurring risk at the moment. Shiba Inus is currently up about 3.7% right now at the 40 out of 70. So ideally, again, right, we, for those actually bought the dip when we were at the 29, 28, 100, that was the dip, right? So right now, I probably weighed off a little bit because like the most substantive level is below 2,900 technically. MACD's up about 8.2%. Right now, we are forming a golden cross, right, at the 60 out of 70. So it's either we go up to the next level, the 142, and then crack all-time high all over again, or do we come back down, right? I think for me, I'll just wait for the 175 to 143. That was the better level for me, and that was the dip that technically you should have incurred. So hopefully that's helpful. And then AVAX is up about 3.25% right now, and these are the levels that we have identified that are the more risk-averse levels. I don't think right now it makes sense to chase right now. I think 81 to 60 is still a better dip for us. Before I do a recap, let me just see what's going on the news front to see if there's anything that's really worth mentioning. I think the most macro catalyst that we're seeing is already kind of being adjusted in terms of the translations of the price already. So I think the news, based on my read so far, I don't think it's really thing substantive for us to really take a look at. It's just basically old news being rewashed. Talk about like recovering from lost ground, rebounding, some of the resistance level to watch out for. Market is very choppy. These are things that we already know. So these are not really news, if you may, right? So respect to risk management level, these are levels identified so far, right? So how do we play this for 2:30 p.m. on the Eastern time later today, right, with Joe Biden? Ultimately, I think I have a gut feeling, and again, it's a feeling, right? It's not real because I don't know what the speech will look like. I think we're gonna lean more towards a positive sentiments from the speech later today. Ultimately, I think the Feds, in collaborations with the governments, they want to end the year on a good optimistic note. It's their job to be leaders of the country, to bring us up, right, and support us collectively. I don't think we are gonna get any worse than what we have already been in. There are some people saying like dead cat bounce. I don't really think so. I think we are already relatively depleted on the technical front. So I don't really believe in the dead cat bounce type of affectation. I mean, there are a lot of people saying it, but the technical doesn't quite check out. It would be a dead cat bounce if we were all like leaning more toward a neutral level at the moment. I think the technicals are all saying oversold, like majority of it, including the equity side. So I am thinking of buying the dips, and I think the dips is real. So again, it's my judgment, it's my logical thinking. It's not perfect, and it's not the way to go. And I could be totally wrong, right? But hopefully this is helpful in terms of how I think about it. I am conservative in terms of how I approach investing. I am more of a long-term investor. So regardless of what happens with Joe Biden today, we ultimately hold this long term, and you'll be okay, just fine. Like you think yourself later down the road in the future, like 3-5 years from now, we'll be way, way higher than the level we're at right now. Again, like $25,000, up above 9,000% so far. Again, another jokes. So really appreciate you. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day as well, and stay tuned for the cup. Take care. Bye.